What is happening, guys? My name is Wes, and today we are going to talk about the new Warlock exotic chest called Mataiodoxia. Because we are in the era of prismatic subclass, so we have a build created called the Mataiodoxia. So we're just gonna combine prismatic and whatever else we want so we can make a very good build. Now, in order for you to obtain this new exotic chest piece, you either have to complete the campaign on legendary difficulty, or you can come to Rahul and he can sell you exotic, so you can focus exotic. So for instance, if we go to him and we go to this option right here, so you have the option to focus any exotic that you want, but you're going to need some resources. As you can see, every transaction is going to cost you 1 exotic engram, 60,000 glamour, and it's going to cost you 2 ascendant shards. That is a very expensive way to go do it, but it gives you a lot of progress. I believe it's 500 progress towards the rank, and once you rank him up, you will be able to come to the last page, and then you can just write out buying these exotics, either the helmet or the Mataiodoxia, which is the one that we are talking about today. All right, now that you know how we can get the chest piece, let's look at it and see why we are using it. So let's go in and look at the armor perks. It says Tylostistics, targets damage by ARCANE Needle, amid suspending detonation when defeated, and landing multiple ARCANE Needles on the same target immediately triggers a larger, more powerful detonation. And also, defeating suspending targets grants melee energy. Your ARCANE Needles are strong against barrier champions. So with this chest piece, you have another option for barrier champion. Now that we know what the chest piece can do, let's go into this subclass. So we are using the prismatic Warlock. So the prismatic subclass comes with transcendence and also with freezing singularity. It's a powerful grenade that uses both void and stasis damage. You can freeze enemy with it and you explode enemy with it. It is very powerful, just in case you don't know yet, for those people that may not know. In any case, now for our super, we are using the new super for the Warlock, what you unlock during the campaign. It's Song of Flame. It is a very good super. It's a very powerful. It is not just for ad clearing, it's also for dealing a lot of damage. But you have other options. You don't have to use the new super. I use it because it's cool and it's also working out. And sometime I switch to Nova Bomb, and those are the two main ones that I use for this build. But moving on for abilities, we are using Phoenix Dive. It is a shorter cooldown instead of using Healing Wave, but you have the option to use Healing Wave as well. For movement, we are using Burst Glide. And then, as we already talked about the chest piece, you need ARCANE Needle to make this work. So if you don't know how to unlock ARCANE Needle, I have a video on the channel. I will leave a link in the description and you can see how you can unlock it as soon as you get the chest piece. And then for our grenade, you have many options. I decided to go with the Cold Snap grenade because I just want to add a little bit of freezing to the mix. And but you can use other grenades that are available to you. If you already unlock Healing Grenade, you can use that, or you can use the Vortex Grenade. Whichever one that you want to use, depends on what you're trying to do, then you are good to go. Now for our aspect, we are using Feed the Void. This, I believe everybody that's running Warlock nowadays is going to use Feed the Void. If you're not using Feed the Void, then you have something else going on for you. In any case, for the second one, we are using Bleak Watcher. Now, you do not have to use Bleak Watcher. I decided to use it because I tried all the other options and Bleak Watcher was the best out of all of them. Hellion, which is the new one, I tried this for a while and then I didn't like it that much. It's not that impressive in my opinion for now. Maybe it needs a buff, but it's alright. You can run it, and since you don't have Arc Soul, you can run this. But for me personally, after running it for so long, I decided it was not good enough, and I already know about Bleak Watcher, so I'm using this instead so I can freeze enemies when I want to. But you have options. There's plenty of options. As long as you unlock these things, you'll be able to use them. Now, moving on to the fragments. For the first one, we are using Facet of Balance. As you can see right here, when you deal damage with light damage, you get melee energy. And if you use darkness damage, you have grenade energy. So I am using this mainly for the melee energy because I want my ARCANE Needle to come as fast as possible. So we are using this. If you unlock this, to the campaign, just make sure you use it. It's going to help you out. But you do have a lot of other options. That's why this build is very flexible in what you can do, especially with the prismatic subclass. And for our second fragment, we are using Facet of Hope. As you can see, it says while you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerate more quickly. This means I will be able to use my Phoenix Dive as often as possible. As you can see, when it comes to the buffs that it's talking about, it can either be whether you amplify, using Cure, using Radiant, Restoration, any of those things, especially Devour. The build revolves a lot around Devour because with Feed the Void, that's why you use Feed the Void for Devour. In any case, because of that, we are gonna have this buff up a lot of the time because of Devour. Now for Darkness buffs, it's for Frost Armor and also Woven Mail. So I'm not worried too much about the Darkness buffs. It's mainly for the Light buff. And for our next fragment, we are using Facet of Courage. Mainly, I am using this for the plus 10 discipline because I want my discipline as high as possible, and that gives me that. Now, for our fourth fragment, I'm using the Facet of Bravery. This one is very important for the build, in my opinion, because it synergizes very well with what we're trying to do. Because I'm using a strength weapon, but you can also use a void weapon, I take advantage of the strength weapon to have Unraveling Round. As you can see, the second part, it says when you defeat targets with powered melee, you get Unraveling Rounds. And we are going to use our ARCANE Needle a lot, and we're going to have Unraveling Round a lot when we use a strength weapon. So that's the reason why I believe this synergizes really well with this build. And if you have this unlocked, make sure you use this. It's going to do you good. In any case, let's move on to the last one. I'm using the Facet of Protection. This one you unlock in the campaign as well. And you can use this for some protection. You got some damage resistance if you use this, but you have other option. If you feel like you want to synergize with other fragments, then you can go ahead for this. So those are the ones that I am using, especially those are the ones that I already unlocked. And I believe I looked at all the other ones. I think those are the better ones so far. In any case, that's it for all the abilities that we are using. So let's go through the gear. Now I talk about the weapons, and for the strength weapon, I'm using the Call. This is a very powerful sidearm, and I am pretty sure everybody's gonna have this sidearm because it is very popular and you get it very easily, and it is very good, especially if you have a good wall. But whatever wall you have is gonna be good. This is basically a hand cannon that is a rocket launcher basically, but you already know the deal because we have this before. In the previous season we have the Indebted Kindness, that is also this type of weapon, but now we have one in the kinetic slot, and you can use this for the strength weapon that I was talking about. But if you don't have this, or if you don't have a good one, or you prefer to use another strength weapon, that is also good. We have the Rufus Fury, that is a very good one, or any other strength weapon that you have would work for what we're trying to do here. Now, as far as in the energy slot, so we are going to use a light weapon because for Transcendence, you also need some light damage, and anything that has Soul Level Void are going to be light damage. But anything that has Strand or Stasis is going to be dark damage. So we need both of them. So you have to find a weapon that you can use that will work for you. Now for our heavy weapon, I am using the Dragon's Breath, but there are many other options. You can use Galahorn. You can even use one of those legendary heavy or another rocket launcher, whatever you want. Make sure it works for what you're trying to do, and you should be good to go. Now going over this stats, you can see I have at least 100 resilience, and you're trying to get 100 in the stats, especially discipline and recovery, trying to get it as high as you can because you want your class ability to come as fast as possible. Now mine is at 80, but you don't have to have it that high. As long as you have something decent, you should be good to go. And the rest of them, it's whatever you have on your gear. Now let's go to the gear so you can see the mods. Now bear in mind, I am going to leave a link of the Destiny Item Manager in the description. That way you can see the build, and if you want to copy it, or if you want to just do whatever change you want to do, then you should be good to go. So for the helmet, this is what we are using. we are using some mods here that are very beneficial to the build, but you don't have to use the same thing. So for a helmet, we're always trying to get some heavy ammo finder, and also anything that is going to help us with what we are trying to do. So I'm just showing you this real quick. Again, this is going to be in the Destiny item manager, and I'm trying to find any mods that's going to help me with my ARCANE Needle. So as you can see, this one, momentum transfer, it also, when you cause damage with grenade, it reduces your melee cooldown. Anything that's gonna give me a benefit for my melee, because we're using ARCANE Needle, I am going to use. I'm using 2 of those here, but you know, just do whatever you gotta do to actually make it work. And then for the chest piece, I don't even have enough material to actually max it out yet, but I'm using what I can. And just put some resistance on there so it can help you with incoming damage. So whatever is going to be beneficial for you, just use that. And then for the other mods, is whatever is going to give you the stats that you need. And for the leg armor, again, class ability, anything that's going to help you out with your abilities, that's what I am using here. But again, there are other options. And lastly, for the gear, for the class item, I am using Reaper. So everybody is familiar with the Reaper mod. So if you don't have it, just use something else. Now I'm also using a special finisher. That way I can get some special ammo sometime when I need it. And anything else that's going to work for you, just use that. Now for the artifact, it's whatever is going to be beneficial or whatever is going to synergize with your build. But those are the things that I'm running. Those really don't matter. It's whatever you want. I'm running Overcharge. And since I'm using the call, and I'm using this one that gives you the buff for Dealer's Choice weapon. Now in the third column, I'm using the Elemental Siphon, but you can have other options. Use whatever is going to help you, because when it comes to the seasonal artifact, it's whatever is going to be beneficial to you. And I don't have all the points yet, but I decided to use the Radiant Orbs here. And when I have more points, I'm definitely going to try to put some points in here and all the other ones. Now you can see there are other options. I haven't unlocked those yet, so I'm not worried too much about them for now. Now that I show you the build, I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration how I normally play the build. Here we are using a mission that is 30 level higher than us. But what we do, we normally throw our turret here and to freeze the enemy if we can. And we can use some ARCANE Needle. And that way we can have unraveling round going on if we are using our strand weapon. So you can see right here, unraveling round is going on after we activate our ARCANE Needle. And if we get it back, then we'll throw it again whenever we see some really weak enemy, if the content is very high level. And then when worst come to worst, we use our Song of Flame if we have it. And with that kind of synergy with the build, we are doing okay, and you can just tackle a lot of content. And there are more to come with what's going on with this chest piece. It might become more powerful in the future, but for now, as you can see, this is a demonstration how we normally use it. Just take advantage of all the synergies that exist in this build, and then we take it from there. In any case, that's all I wanted to showcase. Hopefully you give this a try if you have this exotics. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.